Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using code NEST. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Behind Enemy Lines, where we get my man in here, Rio Robinson, here from the Washington Commanders, coming to stop on into the nest and help preview this matchup, give us an understanding. Nobody has views like folks that cover the team like Rio does. Really thank you for coming on in here, Rio. How's the day going?
Absolutely. It's a short week, man. We just got finished with Monday Night Football, and we're already talking about another primetime game in which we're 0-3 so far this season. Not sure what players are taking the field, but we're going to look good on Sunday, so let's have fun with it, man.
Hey, I love where you're at with it, because I know how frustrating it can be. Me and Rio was talking a little bit about this, and I think it's probably the first part of when we look at, breaking this game down a little bit is – unfortunately, you'd like to come in this game and everybody's got injuries. So we got a few, you got a few, but hey, the ground's a level playing field here. Instead, it doesn't quite maybe feel like this from that standpoint with us walking in, does it?
No, it does not. Is Jayden going to play? Don't know. Terry McLaurin just got back from missing 5 games with a quad injury. He re-aggravated it on Monday night. Don't know. Laramie Tunzel, our prized acquisition of the offseason, left tackle, has been phenomenal. Hasn't given up any sacks this year. Hurt his hamstring on Monday. He gets added to the list. Debo's still trying to get through a heel injury, and it's nonstop. And our best edge rushers out for the year. But, football still has to be played on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays. And as a fan who's always asked for my team to be a main character and to be considered for primetime slots, this season has been very humbling. I'm not going to lie to you.
Understandable, especially coming off really the high you guys had last year. And I think that's the part I want to cover with you. But first I do that, folks, we show our love here for Rio walking in the house. I've got a link down in the description section directly to Rio's channel. So let's show him some love for taking time out of his day to come on in here and chop it up with us a little bit. Give him a sub over on his side. I really, really appreciate it. It's free. And again, shows him that, we love him coming on in the house here, and would love to have him back in again on this. You got a team that goes to the conference championship, surprisingly, Cinderella style last year. And so then you're a team where we've gotten faster to the spot than we thought we were going to get when we brought in Dan Quinn. Did you like, and you feel like the moves that they made throughout this offseason and hoping to take that next step were good ones, and that the injury stuff has just kind of taken it down from the root a little bit here? Or did you feel like there were some other different ways that you wanted to see them move through this offseason?
After the magical Disney-like run we went on in the first year of a rebuild last year, I was so all ears to whatever they wanted to do. You want to go trade for Debo Samuel, Laramie Tunzel? You want to completely avoid going out and getting us a young edge rusher in the draft? Y'all have at it, but there were obviously some questionable ways that we went about the offseason. We kind of went bargain shopping, and we're looking for placeholders instead of long-term solutions. We're not really dishing out long-term contracts to people. The only contract more than a year or two that we gave out was to Javon Kinlaw on the inside, and he's been pretty good for us through the first half of the season. But I definitely think we could have aggressively pursued some positions, specifically edge rusher and more wide receiver depth and stuff, and more athleticism in the linebacker room. But until Adam Peters and Dan Quinn go out and fail me or show me that the plan is not coming into fruition, I trusted what they did. So I was okay with how we attacked it. Did I think we smoked the offseason? No, but I think our team got better. And a team that goes to the conference championship that gets better, it's only supposed to go up from there, right?
You would think that's the way you love to think in NFL. It's the brutal part of this sport, though, is that you put things together and it's like, well, logically speaking, this should happen. And for my rationale, this is a very straightforward, the next part. And then this is the NFL, is like you said, it'll humble you really, really fast. And I just looking at the way that the roster was built, which I did like a lot of the Laramie Tunsil move, I thought was really good. Debo you got for not much at all. So it was really an all upside kind of move on that. guess the part that maybe doesn't make as much sense to me, and this is something that comes back to Mike Holmgren days when he was a general manager here for us, and they asked him about the mistakes he made as a general manager before he got those duties taken away and he was just the coach. And he said, I did this wrong this specific way. I went old on defense and young on offense. And I should have done it the other way. I should have gone young on defense, old, and then older on offense. And I look at your team and I feel like there's a little bit of Dan Quinn maybe making, or maybe not Dan Quinn, but the front office itself on that, with the defense feeling a little bit like it's gone for more of some of the aging players rather than trying to turn this out with a new coach there around kind of young and new and refreshed a bit. Is that accurately looking at it?
To be perfectly honest, it's all of the above. We're old everywhere. We're the oldest team in the league. It looks like it. Our two main receivers are 30 years old, in Debo and Terry McLaurin. Our third receiver, who we can no longer rely on, Noah Brown, he's around that age as well. And the line, there's like, we got the rookie right tackle, and we sprinkle in some young pieces. We're old throughout the roster. See, I think the thing was Ron Rivera and company, they did irreparable damage to the roster over the 4 years that they were here. And to flip this thing around, they signed a bunch of older culture setting guys, the Zach Ertzes of the world, Bobby Wagner, who you guys know well in Seattle, who is such a catch-22 because the defense would crumble without him, but at the same time, he's a giant liability out there each week for us. But these are the guys setting the culture for us, and we need more younger guys, but we went for it. We saw the opportunity last year. We made an aggressive trade for a guy like Marshawn Lattimore, who is past his prime, and he made a play on Monday night. Hasn't made many plays since we acquired him here. We made some aggressive moves because with Jayden Daniels, when he's on, we can beat anybody. The thing is, this year, we've been ravaged by injuries. He hasn't necessarily been on, and we require him to put a cape on and carry us each week. And some of the magic we had last year, it hasn't been found in the 2025 season yet. But we're old. We're pretty old, and we need to be younger. We need to get younger for sure.
That is the good side of this, is that you can see that there's work to be done. You don't know where this year is going to go, but you do have your quarterback. I love Jayden coming out in the draft. I don't put a lot of blue chip type grades out there on these guys, even first round grades, but I did on him. I saw a guy that was Randall Cunningham without the windup. It's kind of how I saw him coming out. Is he been, and obviously watched a lot of him last year. He just seems from the outside looking in, just be a spectacular kind of player with all the upside in the world. And that in a lot of ways, he's mastered a lot of some of the mental stuff that younger quarterbacks wouldn't, decision-making wise specifically. Can you give us a little bit on your outlook on Jayden and what I know you mentioned hero, but just as a player?
Yeah, he's a relentless worker. Like, he's not afraid of the grind. He enjoys the grind. There are people who don't really understand his makeup, and that they get mad at the fact that he's smiling all the time. He's always smiling. He's always happy. He's always joking around with his teammates. That's just the California cool breeze way that he was brought up. That's how he is. He loves the game. This VR preparation stuff he does, he over prepares. Him and Cliff are at the park at 4:30 in the morning. But this year, we've just been caught up in so many different things going wrong for us. We haven't got to see the same guy as last year. One, he's been injured 2 different ways this season, and he hasn't had a full deck. We have not seen the receiving core in the offense with all its weapons that we were promised this season, but one time. That was week 1 of the season versus the Giants. But I love the guy. I'm going to ride with him through any of the roller coaster that is developing a young quarterback. He has all the goods mentally, physically. He's the type of guy you want to build your organization around. And while we're struggling right now, I'm not putting that on him, but he does need to play better. And I'm not calling it a sophomore slump for him. I think we're having an organizational sophomore slump right now. But one of the few things we've gotten right over these first 2 years is we got the quarterback. We have that. I have no doubts about it.
And that's major, because how many teams get this wrong? How many teams are searching for years? I mean, look at from Bears organization last 30 years has been looking for a starting quarterback. So you got something they don't ever have. They haven't had in that time period or anything, in my opinion, close to it. Is if you had to lay money down, is he playing this Sunday?
If it goes like it's went so far this season, Probably not, because they've been very careful with Jayden. It feels like if Jayden's playing, you would know to start the week. And Dan Quinn is good at going to the podium and giving us a lot of information that tells us nothing. Like, he's very good at word soup and not giving out too many trade secrets and playing into competitive advantage. I think we're getting Mariota on Sunday night. I think they're going to do everything they can to get Jayden out there, because we're 3-5 and we've already taken 4 conference losses in the NFC this year. And a 5th conference loss, 3-6 with the Lions coming in town next week. The season's pretty much finito. You don't win this game on Sunday night. So I think they want to get him out there. He's practicing today, so we'll see. If he's full go through the week, maybe. But if I had to put something on, I don't think he's playing on Sunday.
How much do you think Robert Griffin's shadow hangs over the management of this injury situation?
Oh, man. I don't think it plays any part in it, but it's very easy to draw the parallels with the way that it happened with Robert. But we're a drastically different team. Like, we're not under the same ownership. That was played drastically different than the way that the current regime would do it. Like, under Dan Snyder, he gave a quarterback keys to the franchise and let him overrule coaches and stuff like that. He pretty much ran everything. But I get why people, it's very easy. It's, oh, he's RG3, he's RG4, he doesn't protect him. And that's not at all. I don't think the RG3 thing has anything to do with it, but they just want to protect Jayden from himself, and they know that he is the one thing, if anything, that they got right. And you cannot play games with lower extremity injuries to a quarterback who needs those.
I'm glad they are being careful with him. I think that the Robert thing is, and I think he's night and day difference from Robert at protecting himself and being smart
100%.
about not taking you. I mean, Robert was out there wild and free, like we've seen, like Jackson Dart is right now. Just, I'll never get injured. I'm going to live forever. I can't get hurt. It's like, yeah, take a couple of hits. We'll see how that lasts about 4 years down the line. He does a really good job throwing ball away, getting out of bounds, just avoiding those hits where he doesn't have to. And I think his future is really bright for you guys. Whether this year comes back into front, I think he's going to be just phenomenal for you guys. Got a weird thing going on with that elbow. I'm not sure that there's not some alien stuff going on with that elbow. That pick at LSU, with that weird, like, what is going on there?
I remember that picture, man. I was like, there's no way that's real. There's no way that's
and it totally was. It's like, you just gotta, but maybe that helps him throw the ball. That the way it's all kind of a.
I'll tell you what, he has a lot stronger whip of an arm than people thought coming out of school. His arm has juice to it.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's the full meal deal for me as a player, where it's got the good enough size, little thin, but it's got plenty of height. We know we've seen a lot of these shorter quarterbacks are having some struggles at times, and seeing over the pocket and being able to do the on-time rhythm stuff of that. He can do that. He's got the mobility, arm strength. It's a full package. Is why I put that blue chip on him coming out, and he can throw that sort of fade ball almost just effortlessly with the accuracy down the field. When he wants to it's almost like it's like a jugs machine a little bit. And where he, I'll put it right there and he puts it right on the right spot with just perfect kind of layered throw coming in over the top. I mean, him, Brian Thomas and the other kid they had there at LSU, it was wild watching the tape. Yeah, neighbors. Those guys were just going crazy. So you guys made a little bit of an interesting move, and sorry, Cat's a little needy right now. You guys made a little bit of an interesting move at the start of the year by moving on from your kind of quasi-starting running back. I know it was kind of Antonio Gibson and him for a couple of years there going back and forth. But then you guys went to kind of an unknown. Had a lot of people surprised. Had a lot of some fantasy owners that had drafted Ja'Cory Crosset were like, yes. And then some that were on Brian Ryan's, what are you guys doing? But this guy just the juice was there for him to roll with him, and that it was too undeniable, but he was the better option here. What does this guy got in his bag as far as upside goes from the running back position?
One, he has a motor, and he's shifty, and he runs with a suddenness. I know over the last couple weeks, we haven't seen him do what we've been expecting, because we're playing from behind every week of the season, and an offensive coordinator like Cliff Kingsbury, they cannot wait to abandon the run, because they just want to air it out for the whole game.
Air raid, baby.
Oh yeah. He wants to throw the hell out of the football, but he has vision. His vision's special, and he's a one-cut runner. Brian Robinson lacked vision, he lacked motor, and he left a lot of yards on the field. Whereas Bill, even in the games where he's not that effective, he gets something out of nothing almost every time he touches the football. And he always looks like he's one cut away from breaking it. And we needed some speed at that position. Eckler, who's out for the season at this age, he doesn't have what he used to have when he was a Charger. Brian Robinson lacked vision and he lacked the big play ability, and they have that in Bill Krosky. His name's Jacory, but he goes by Bill. It's a childhood nickname. Everyone calls him Bill. So we haven't seen him break out in a long time. We're hoping this weekend is a game that gets it going. Like, the run game just hasn't gotten going for. I know Jayden not being on the field, that hurts it also, but he's fun. Bill is fun. He's fast. He's a vicious cutter. When he cuts, it looks special. And you see the signs every time he touches the football. We gotta get him the ball. We gotta get him going on the outside some more. We're trying to make him do too much between the tackle stuff, and I don't think that's his game.
Yeah. Well, and some of that, I can test to our running game. Some of that comes down to on the outside stuff. You'd love to do it, but sometimes the blocking on those outside runs can just be brutal with the penetration, and you end up with, instead of getting the 3 yards in a cloud of dust, the negative 2 yards because somebody gets in the backfield, and now you're into the 2nd and 12, and now you're definitely passing. And it does get a little tough. At least that's the problem we're running into. I don't know if maybe it's the same thing out there, with Washington. It's unfortunate to hear Terry's not going to be good. I mean, it's fortunate for us. It makes it maybe easier game for us. But, for fans here out in Seattle that don't get a chance to watch Terry, and he was my favorite receiver coming out of that very deep draft. There were some dogs in that draft he came out of, but I loved him. I thought he was kind of a combination of kind of like we had Doug Baldwin here, and then the guy that was in Arizona for years, whose name I'm spacing, Larry Fitzgerald's running mate out there, the other receiver that they had. Remember, Anquan Bolden. It was kind of an Anquan Bolden and Doug Baldwin combination a bit coming out with a lot of upside. Can you speak to a little bit about what he is as a player? I know we might not see him this week, but again, this guy we don't get to see a lot of, and has been lost there in Washington a little bit because of the quarterback play through the early part of his career. But he just seems like a really top-notch receiver that doesn't get enough credit.
He's a very consistent receiver. Like, he doesn't do things that necessarily jump off the page, but he's just overall solid at most things. And going vertically, he's special. Going vertically, he's special. Like, he can take the top off of any defense. He can get behind any coverage you throw out there. And our offense has desperately needed that. Like, we had Jayden playing against the Cowboys, throwing it to Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, and Robbie Chosen Anderson in the year of 2025. That's not going to work for most quarterbacks in the NFL. And we desperately miss Terry. Terry held in. It almost feels like the entire vibe of the season has never recovered from the awkwardness of Terry's hold-in contract negotiations versus Adam Peters, because he was there, but he wasn't. And that he ended up getting a soft tissue injury, which you fear when a player is missing all of training camp, and the quad has been lingering. He catches this beautiful touchdown on Monday night versus the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what it looks like when Terry's out there on the field. Now he's re-aggravated the quad injury, so we might miss him for some more weeks. And he's already missed 4 or 5 games this season. But the connection 5 and 17 had last year was a big reason why we were 60 minutes away from the Super Bowl. In the 3 playoff games, in big moments, Terry usually shows up. And in the playoffs last year, he had a touchdown in every game. He had a lot of yards in every game, and we haven't given him many opportunities to play in playoff games, so he relished in it. We need 17 out there to be as effective as an offense as we can be, and I know Jayden misses him.
He's a good player, and I hate those negotiations like you just talked about. I'm glad you did mention a little bit about that. We saw this with the Niners last year too with Brandon Ayuk. And that these teams want to get cute with the contract negotiations. I don't know that they end up ever really saving any amount of money by doing this. We're going to go through 2 weeks of training camp. We're going to have them, but then the soft tissue stuff comes up, and they need that training camp to prepare their bodies, especially with OTAs being ripped back like they have through the last 10, 15 years with the CBA, and less practice time, no 2-a-days, less padded practices. I don't understand why these teams do this for some of these players that absolutely have earned the contract. In many cases, McLaurin more probably deserved it than even an Ayuk did at the time that he got the deal. But maybe there's a lesson that they take away and learn from that. And I think teams should, as they look at these players, understand, like, you play that game, okay, maybe you save $1 million or $2 million, but you might lose him for a half season because he's not then, body's not prepared to roll then 100%.
And they probably, as a team, they probably feel validated or like a little bit of vindication because they didn't want to set the precedent that a 30-year-old receiver making $30 million a year. Because the league is not about setting precedents and that sort of thing and cornering the market for receivers going into their age 30 season. And when a guy like Terry plays 76 games in a row and all of a sudden he turns 30 and they told you we don't want to overpay a 30-year-old receiver, all of a sudden he's missing games. They're probably like, but honestly, the hold-in plays into it though. So it's a no-win thing for both parties. But Terry never misses time. The year he gets his contract extension is the year that he gets injured, and he's missing 5 weeks, and he's re-aggravating an injury. But we need 17 back out there as soon as possible, and that's why they put a lot of performance and incentive-based thing. His contract is not what it looks like on the surface. There's a lot of you need to hit these benchmarks, and this is going to be the first year he misses 1,000 yards in 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah, it's one where they saved a little bit of money there, but I just don't like. We faced the same decision with DK Metcalf, and right around the same kind of age. And do you want to give this guy the deal? And to me, you just got to S or get off the pot. You want to do it or not? And if you don't really want to do it, and if you're going to drag it out through training camp, I'd say, well, you don't really want to do it. If you're putting incentives in that deal, I'd say you probably don't really want to do it. So just make your peace with the fact that you move it, get the assets you can and move it, or sign the guy. That you don't try to kind of split the difference and cut it right down the middle of the road, which sort of feels a little bit like what Washington did here on the McLaurin thing, and luckily kept him because I think he's a great player and you don't want to let great players go. But I get the worry about the 30 years old, but when the guy's been that good for you and he's been such a good soldier, despite the fact that you haven't exactly put him in the best of environments to find success, I think you got to take that into account a little bit when you're doing that,
Yep, there's definitely some of that plays into it. And also, though, it's like they've only been here with him for a year, but they know what he means to the franchise, which is why they ultimately got it done. But God, I just need my guys healthy. I just need at least the offense to be. I need Jayden to have a full deck of weaponry to his disposal because we're not a defensive team. Don't expect us to be a defensive team. But some of that also bothers me because you have a defensive head coach. What is the entire purpose if the defense isn't going to be good at all?
Well, you bring up the D. Let's talk a little bit about that. So Dan comes from a Carroll system here. And Carroll at the end, the issues came in. They were very specific defensively. It was, I don't want to blitz. I'm not really big about changing the coverage pre to post snap. It's not really going to be my thing. Stack boxes, simulated pressures, kind of not really my thing. A lot of soft zone coverages, drop to depth, then giving up a lot underneath in the short variety. You can kind of just get bled to death. It's the ultimate bend but don't break kind of.
That sounds so at home to me. That's
terrifying. No, Dan's not. He's not growing. Rio, he's not growing. He's not becoming a better version.
He's not even the defensive coordinator, and that's exactly what our defense is. Oh my God.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Old habits die hard, Rio. What can I say, man? Carroll could never stop himself either on this. There was never any adjustment. Like his big adjustment was like, all right, I'm going to run cover 3 90% of the time anymore. Now I'll do some cover 2 and cover 6. Ooh. Oh. And it was going to spin between those 3. And that was the big flavor, in there. So it's unfortunately Dan's not then finding different modes, finding the evolution within this defense that needs to modernize. And this is why Carroll kind of isn't here as much as anything anymore.
Yeah. Our defense, it has a weekly identity crisis. We don't know if we want to be a man or a zone team. We started the year in a lot of man because you trade for Marshawn Lattimore, that's a press man corner. You draft Trey Amos in the second round, that's a press man corner, and Mikey Sanders still's in the slot. Here's the thing, we're not getting a consistent enough pass rush to really play man, and quarterbacks are having all day to throw. Jordan Love absolutely torched us early in the season. Michael Penix torched us early in the season. We're getting cooked by anyone's quarterback who can stretch the field vertically. We don't have linebackers that can cover. Bobby Wagner, bless his heart, he's always going to be top 3 in tackles. He could probably be top 3 in tackles till he's 50 years old because that's what he does. If you put him in a situation where he has to cover, that's never going to be a win for us. Like, we've matched him up with Tucker Kraft down the deep seam, and Tucker Kraft had the game of his life. He had like 140 yards and a touchdown. We put him in the open field with Bijan Robinson, and that matchup went exactly how you thought it was going to go. We have 2 linebackers that can't cover. in Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner. We have corners that we haven't decided whether they're zone or man corners. And on the back end, the free safety that actually looked promising is done for the year. And Quan Martin was better last year with separated shoulders. So it's not looking good on the defensive side of the ball, but they did have a half versus the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a half like I haven't seen them have all year, and it was wasted. And it's very unfortunate.
Well, and it does sound, as you talk, mismatch a little bit. You know, he wants to run zone. You know, he does. So getting into man stuff, and even the trade of Marshawn's like, well, we need a corner. Let's get Marshawn. Well, he's pressed man, but we want to stay more in zone. And then Louvu and Wagner, both really good blitzing linebackers. Even Bobby's still, I think, relatively pretty decent at it. But Quinn's DNA is not going to want to do a tremendous amount of blitzing linebackers. So you have this like circle trying to be jammed into a square hole a little bit, at least how it looks on the outside on this defense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's like, what is the defensive philosophy here? Why acquire guys and then say do something that goes against what you, which is defensively, we're just very confused. Like we actually had if you don't look at the scoreboard and you watched Monday, they came out playing a style of football I haven't seen this defense play all season. Mahomes looked awful. We picked him off twice. We're a defense that does not force turnover. We cannot force a turnover to save our lives. We caught 2 interceptions and scored 0 points on them while being on the Chiefs side of the field 3 times in a row and getting 0 points out of it on Monday night. So when this defense actually does show up, the offense hasn't been able to provide the complementary boost to actually marry together and play a complete game. But the best we can hope for out of this bend not break thing that you mentioned was Carroll's philosophy. We're praying teams are held to 3 points, and it's either get the quarterback or have a turnover fall in your lap, or a team is just going to march on you for 60 minutes.
Yeah, it's a painful version of football to watch too defensively. I'm much more of the, hey, let's take some risks. Maybe we give up a big play, but we don't allow the 11-minute drive that just takes the energy and momentum out of our team. And that's the other part of it is like there's some cascading issues with this kind of defense to me versus having a little bit more of an aggressive standpoint in the way that you're looking to attack. So Bobby definitely sounds like he is, he was already part of what he left here, same stuff that you're dealing with, we dealt with. And that's why we kind of moved on, that he wasn't still a good player to a degree and what he could bring some benefits, but that coverage stuff is where you can really attack him. One of the places I'm looking for in this game, because we have 2 pretty good tight ends, Dynamic Arroyo, who can really move, and then AJ Barner, who I think is a little underrated, kind of guy, Tucker Kraft, kind of
send him up the seam.
Yeah. And that's where I think we're going to probably attack Bobby in this game quite a bit with the linebackers and going after that, because how can you not with both him and Louvu out there as far as maybe some places you can attack coverage wise? One guy I did like a lot coming out that you have at the slot position you mentioned, who really had a good year last year, was able to take the ball away. We had like 6 touchdowns or something last year. I think I saw he had like a bunch of TGs. Is Mike Sainristil, the Michigan slot corner you guys got?
Mikey.
Yeah, he's a feisty one, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. The defense is bad, so he's taken a step back or so this year, but we have as an organization, so I'm not going to single him out, but he definitely doesn't look as comfortable. We made him wear a lot of hats his rookie year. Started in the slot, had to force him to the outside, and to be a 5'9" undersized corner without elite speed, he actually was better on the outside than the inside, but his natural position is on the inside. And one of the things he had a superpower in college was blitzing, sending him on the blitz and stuff like that. We don't utilize guys' best abilities here. We kind of just do the same things over again and expect a different result. And that is insanity. And that is why the defense has fell back. But Mikey is the only player on the defense usually and typically that could change a game with a turnover. He's the guy that will jump a route. He's the guy that will leave his assignment and find the football. He drops 1,000 of them, but usually if we're catching an interception, it's going to be 0 every time.
Yeah, I think he's going to be still a good player for you in the future years. Interesting to hear he held up on the outside. I don't know if I would have seen his ability to do that, but again, he's just so feisty. He's got that spirit you want in corners where it's like you can't phase him. He's going to come back the next play just as hungry, even if you beat him on a spot. He's can play the ball. He's a very good tackler. He's ferocious in that way. Really loved his take coming out of Michigan, and it's been cool to see him kind of realize that there, with Washington. Unfortunately, you're not going to get Jackson matched up on him, though. It's going to be probably Lattimore, Jackson Smith, and Jigba out there, which based on what you're saying with Lattimore right now, that might be a long day at the office for him. Because another thing Quinn's defenses I don't think tend to do, which Carroll defenses didn't tend to do, which is double guys in the secondary. They're just going to kind of play to their designed coverages.
We don't do that, and I don't know. Most of the time, we don't really believe in safety help over the top. So it's kind of we're putting our corners out there on an island to sink or swim. Marshawn caught a pick on Monday night. That was his first interception since he came here at the deadline last year. So maybe a little bit he got his swagger back. Maybe he's ready to run that one-on-one fade with Njigba, but Njigba's on pace to have the most receiving yards in like an NFL history for a season though. So that it could be a long night if Sam Darnold has all day to throw the football.
Could be indeed. And you talk about long day to have a football. You guys lost a guy in Doris Armstrong that was such a good signing for you from the Dallas Cowboys and really supplying the lion's share of the pass rush off the edge. You got Ron Payne on the inside. You got the kid you took out of Illinois last year, who's an interesting player down there. Javon Kinlaw, you mentioned, but really a pass rush does need its edge. It's good to have the inside. You need that too. And no better pressure than the inside pressure. But right now you're kind of leaning on Jacob Martin, former Seattle Seahawk, as your main guy. Got a couple sacks last week. So,
got some bend to him, man.
Got some bend. He's got some quickness and bend, but you are really missing, it felt like watching that game last week against the Chiefs. Armstrong's presence was, Mahomes was sitting back there playing backyard ball at times through most of that game. Just, bake a cake, have a sandwich, make himself a milkshake. It seemed like he had a long period of time to kind of work with.
Hey, well, per Ari Merov, 11 minutes ago, Terry is out. He's already been ruled out for Sunday night, but Jayden is expected to practice in full the entire week, so he's on track to return this. Oh, I needed that.
There we go.
I needed that. That's something.
Yeah, hard to see Mariota carry. He looked a little in over his head dealing with the issues at hand offensively. Like he was not going to put on the Superman cape last week. He was like, whoa, it's a lot of pressure. Whoa, there's not a lot of places to go here. I don't know what to do with the football a little bit. So that'd be a big difference if Jayden can play for you guys.
Oh, we need that. We need that. This is must-win territory for us. The NFC looks great this year. The NFC looks pretty stacked, and we've already have losses to Chicago, Dallas, Green Bay, and Atlanta. So if we lose this game, the season is virtually over for us. We're not going to be mathematically eliminated because it's only week 9 of the season, but there's not too many places this season's going. It might already be at that point. So we need us to win this game Sunday.
Any chance you guys go into sell mode if you lose or buy mode if you win at the deadline?
I don't really see us being a player at the deadline. Like I seen something come out earlier that pretty much said that Adam Peters is doing his job as a general manager because all general managers should be checking the lay of the land. No one should just be sitting on their hand and doing nothing at the deadline. You should at least be surveying who's available and stuff like that. I wouldn't mind us being sellers. I think we only have a couple real tradable commodities like Daron Payne. If that's a guy who next year could end up being a cap casualty. He's one of our better players on the defense, but it's a bad unit. This team desperately needs picks. We don't have a second or a fourth in the 2026 draft because of the Laramie Tunsil trade. So for a team that could be a bad team this season, I don't want to say that the season's over, but we could be staring a 6 or 7 win season down the pipeline. So you don't want to go into that with just a few draft picks. And we saw what happened last year. We only had 5 picks a few months ago because we made the Marshawn and the Debo trade. So we don't want to go back into that. The oldest team in the league needs to get younger. And we keep signing 1-year deals. We're going to have money. I wouldn't mind adding some picks. I don't see us doing it, though, because the way Dan Quinn and company are wired, they still think we're making a run at this thing this year. So they're going to move according. So I would see us being a buyer more than a seller, even though I don't think we can be a buyer after all the trades we've already made, because I don't see no quick fix for this season. But I want us to be drafters. I don't want us to be buyers anymore right now. I need some young talent, some youth infused on this roster.
Would you be willing then in this offseason, if it does kind of come down to the season stagnates a little bit of, hey, let's take a little bit of pain for the 2026 season to make sure this is right. I know you got your money to spend, but I'm speaking specifically to, you got to turn over a lot of the age on the roster. That means we're gonna have to go maybe a little bit younger on the roster, maybe a little bit initially not as good to sort of let those guys develop and grow.
I'm with it. I know me. I'm not a lot of fans. They're going to fight to the finish until we're mathematically eliminated. We can't punt a season. We can't start selling players. No, I have foresight for the future, and I want what's best for this roster going forward in building around Jayden. We have a couple more years left to maximize a very good quarterback on a rookie contract before we have to pay him the world. So we need to get him some young dogs on this roster around him. If they started selling players tomorrow, I would totally understand it. And if it gets to the point of the season where Jayden might need to come out because we don't have a roster that can protect him, or like, I understand it. Fans don't want to hear that. I'm all for what's best for the future. Everything ain't about for being all in 2025 when your team is staring a potential 3-7 start.
Yeah, I think I love the fact that you're in that mindset, because there's so few times a year people are willing to do that. And I just think that one of the big mistakes NFL teams make over and over again is the not understanding where they're at from a team concept, like how good they are or how bad they are. They think they're elite, or they think, and instead they're kind of not. They're sort of down a rung, and so they make mistakes where they're making moves for today, rob for tomorrow, for today. Then tomorrow comes and you're like, we need assets. We don't have assets because we built it all in this today. And it's like, well, the timing wasn't right. You got to make sure the timing is right to strike. And with Jayden there, you've got the hardest, some of the hardest parts by that quarterback sometimes. Now you just sort of build from there. And at least good to see with them that they were willing to start to build up that line too, which I like to see this offseason. I know we'll talk about offense and Connerly a little bit, but the Tunsil trade and doing some stuff to protect your guy, you love that as well from their standpoint, and really understanding, look, this is where the bread is buttered on, so we got to protect it a little bit here.
Yep. Just protect the quarterback at all costs. And sometimes you got to accept your losses, even if it's closer to the beginning of the season than the end of the season. Sometimes you just got to know, we got to take our ball and go home and see us in 2026, man.
It's the nature of the beast, especially when you get kind of snake bit by the injuries like you have a little bit. When you're getting decimated this much and you're already an older roster, and it kind of 1 + 1 = 2. Well, older rosters tend to be more injured. Well, it makes sense then why we are injured here, and that we got to start to kind of make our peace a little bit with that. And we tried to kind of push ourselves through that little needle and stuff ourselves through, but the eye of the needle, excuse me. But just sometimes you can't do it that way. So it's not the worst thing to hit the reset button. You can move fast in the NFL. You're willing to kind of go, okay, bump, hit a quick reset. It's not a 4-year process, especially if you've got the quarterback. Is it? I mean, you can get this thing back in a year like nothing.
As you can see, we went from 4 wins to the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
And just like that, we don't know what it's going to turn out this year, but life comes at you very fast and windows open and close expeditiously. So
100%. Beat Me More Seahawks, thank you for the $2 donation. He says Julian Love had a setback and Scary Terry is ruled out. So it sounds like we may not have our starting free safety, Julian Love, and that you guys are without Scary Terry. So we were down one. That's our one defender in this game. We'll be down. We'll have everybody else rolling. We'll have backups across the board rolling with 2 edges backing up our starting 2 that are pretty good quality. Jaron Reed backing up the starting 2 inside defensive tackles. A lot of depth right now in this team on top of being very healthy. I know it's probably, you don't want to hear that where you're at there, Rio, but we're sitting pretty good overall considering where some of these other teams are at, like the Commanders right now.
Pass those good vibes this way, man. We need them.
We'll rub it off this week. We can. We'll have to get the win, but we'll let them rub off onto you and then carry forward for you guys through the rest of the year. How's that sound?
That sounds perfect to me, man.
Let's get a shout out here to the sponsor of actually, funny enough, both of our shows. Me and you're going off screen here for just a sec here as I do this little thing here. If I can find my deal. Boom. But I can still hear you. So you're still there on that side of it.
I'm in spirit at the stadium.
You're in spirit. You're in voice. But both me and Rio are actually sponsored here by our very fine sponsor, which is going to be Sleeper, the #1 sports app running in the game right now. Right now, they're the best one. They've got all the goodies. You got basketball stuff, baseball's going, football we're in the midst of. You can get into the weekly, daily fantasy, whichever you want to do. You lost out of your fantasy league. You're looking to recoup a little bit of your pride. Go get some of your pride back. Use Sleeper today. Use my code, NEST, or Rio's code, which is
Rio91, RIO91.
Rio91. Use either of those codes, Nest or Rio91, and they will take care of you. I'm trying to find our stupid picks for this week on our game, and they may not have it up here yet.
They probably don't have a single commander up there because they don't know who's going to play other than Bill Krosky Merritt.
Let's have some fun with you on this one. Let's choose. Let's see some of that NFC East hate come out here. How about that? Huh? All right. So we got our We got our, if I can get my stupid thing right here. It's a process, man. This technology stuff. It's a
does what it
process.
wants. It does what it wants.
It does what it wants, man. It just does. All right, there we go. All right, so you'll be able to see this. So we've got Niners, Giants. Who's winning this game, by the way? Giants going to shock the Niners?
No,
Make me happy.
The Niners are going to take care of business. I think Christian McCaffrey definitely scores a touchdown on the Giants on Sunday. That's something I'd put on there.
All right, we got that. I think Jackson Dart's going to have to throw in this game. I'm going to go more than 204.5 passing yards.
Yep, he's probably going to have to, especially with no running, no Cam Scatterboo anymore. So he's out there on an island by himself. No starting running back, no starting receiver. He's going to have to put a cape on.
So what do we think about either Darius or Wandale with the over on that? Because he is going to have to throw.
Probably Wandale, I trust more.
Let's go Wandale. He's on my fantasy. I like that. I like that.
I like Rio Robinson. Good last name,
And then let's go with a pick of Kittle, over under a touchdown for Kittle.
Touchdown. They're so unpredictable. They split time right now with this Tanjas kid. It could be either one, but hey, Kittle, they're going to put some points up on the Giants. The Giants have a good defense, but I think the Niners are going to have a day. If not a touchdown, I would probably go look for like his catches proper or something.
Yeah, let's see what you got receiving yards wise here. 51.5.
Oh, yeah, he should be able to get that. He should be able.
All right, let's do that.
Okay.
So there's your 4 picks, folks. There is a 23.15 times. So you put $5 on, you get 23.15 as you're winning on times that. On top of it, you can flex your picks out here if you want to give yourself a little insurance policy. But please do use Sleeper today. Number one app, like I said, 100% code where you get 100% match back of $100 on your first deposit. They also have a freebie $20 thing going on right now where if you just create a login, they'll give you a free $20 into your account. There has been some restrictions in the state of Washington, but I'm being told this is now fully freeing up for you guys. So please do use Sleeper today. Terms and conditions do apply. Please see their site for details. Thank you for helping me out with that there, Rio. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's bang over here if we can to the offense here a little bit. And Josh Connerly was a guy that you made as a very high pick. You're hoping the great plan was Laramie lock in. He's ready to go. We'll get the youngster out there at right tackle. Seems like it has been a bit of a struggle bus out there for Josh Connerly to begin things off here, though, right tackle.
A lot of growing pains, He's never played the right side. He's been a left tackle his whole life. It seems like a recurring theme here of having guys play spots or play a style of football they've never played before. But yeah, we went out and got Laramie Tunsil and then used our first round pick on a tackle. So we're trying to protect our investment in Jayden Daniels. And for Connerly, he either looks really good or he looks absolutely terrible. There hasn't been much gray area in between. He looks like a really quality NFL starter, or he looks like he has no business being on an NFL football field. And it's been tough for him transitioning into a side he's never played before, but I'm confident that he's going to be fine. The line has been okay. We just got Sam Cosmi back the last 2 weeks. So that's the best lineman we got other than Laramie Tunsil. I think Tunsil might miss a couple weeks with a hamstring. So I'm interested and I'm curious to see whether they throw Connerly over to the left side, but I doubt it because they want him to learn the position that they drafted him to be because Tunsil is going to be our guy here. But I'm curious to see what they do now if Tunsil misses a couple games.
And one thing I was surprised about, I was hoping maybe you give me a little illumination on, is why is this the second highest rated team as far as getting blitzed this year? Like there's only one other team that's being blitzed at a higher rate.
The blitz pickup is not necessarily the sharpest. The communication between our linemen and our backs at times, blitzes stymie. I don't know. Both as well prepared or as good a coach I think Dan Quinn is. This team is not prepared with movement before a snap. Like on the defensive side of the ball, if your offense runs motions at all, like we don't know what to do with that. We look at a motion like it was created that day or y'all are doing some type of sorcery or something. When it comes to blitzes, sometimes it feels like we don't know where it's coming from. We're not able to identify it. And that's why Jayden has to run for his life sometime because there's some linebackers screaming off the B gap straight to him or something. I don't know what it is exactly, but we're not the sharpest at picking them up. And also our tight ends, well, we have one great blocking tight end in John Bates, but Zach Ertz not really a blocker at this point of his career. Him and our backs aren't the best blockers, so blitz pickup is just not something we excel at.
And you're also at top 11 stack box rate. So it seems like teams have been stacking the box on you and then bringing a very high rate of blitz off the back of that a little bit, which to me, I feel like Mike McDonald's, especially the last 2 weeks, he's really kind of leaned into this direction of things. I think he's going to put more of that to play this upcoming week, knowing this is the way that your opponents are kind of defending you right now. Ertz still seems like he's got a little bit still left though as a pass catcher. The hands still seem really good. He's able to be subtle with some of his route running to still get open despite being 36 years old or whatever he is. He's up there a bit.
He's ancient.
He's ancient. He's got a little time. Is that still accurate outlook on him?
Yep, especially when Jayden's on the field. When Jayden's on the field, expect him to target Zach Ertz as much as possible, especially when we get inside the 20-yard line. We're in a goal-to-go situation. Ertz is probably the first thing he's looking at out there, no matter what receivers are on the field. But just you can't expect him to do anything with the ball in his hand after he catches like that. No Yak Zach nickname applies. And we had the virtual measurement debacle on Monday night because the problem is as soon as Zach Ertz touches a football, he has to go. It's almost like he has a magnet to the field. He has to go down as soon as he touches the ball. But he's all we got in the pass game as a tight end because we haven't gotten much of anything. We actually saw a catch from our second round pick last year, Ben Sinnott, on Monday night. He only has 7 catches in the 24 or so games since he's been drafted in the second round here. Ertz is all we got in the tight end room as far as pass catcher.
Oh, and as I think about it, probably a big part of the high blitz rate stacking boxes is Terry's absence, and that you don't have anybody on the outside that you're thinking can really burn us up over the top. We can one-on-one the outside and be just fine out there, and that you're missing that guy that can be a little bit, dangerous as far as at least just making teams defensively be a little more honest on that side of it.
Yep, we've been seeing a lot of with the receiving cores that we've had to trot out on the field on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays. Teams are stacking the box because they don't care about some of these guys. Like Robbie Anderson in 2025. Like Luke McCaffrey has been ascending. He's having a good season for us this year. Jalen Lane, our 4th round pick, undersized slot guy, drafted him more as a returner than a receiver. He still hasn't learned how to catch the football yet, so he's not much of a threat. So if Terry and Debo aren't killing it or they're not in the game, there's not much that a team has to be afraid of. And they've clearly not been targeting Debo much since the heel injury. They're playing with very kid gloves when it comes to him. So Jayden playing, he's going to have one of those virtuoso type of performances on Sunday night because Terry's out. We're not getting 100% Debo Samuel. So it's pretty much the Bill Ertz Jayden show versus the world.
How has Luke developed? I liked him a little bit coming out of college, and he seems like he's finding a role there. Is he just having touches now because the receiving core is just so reduced, or is he part of the answer there long term?
He's just making plays. He's contributing in any way possible. As a kick returner, he's getting a kickoff close to the 50-yard line once a week. As a kick returner, he's very good. But as a receiver, he's caught 3 touchdowns this year, had another opportunity to had a nice tiptoe, graceful sideline catch that looked like his father, looked like Easy Ed McCaffrey. He looks like a contributor, and he's earned the trust of the starting quarterback. There was a good part of last year where Luke would flash open a lot, but Jayden didn't even look his way. There was not enough rapport or trust there. He's earned the trust of the quarterbacks now, and they actually draw up plays for Luke McCaffrey. A lot of it is because we have no other options when Terry and Debo aren't out there, but Luke has actually earned himself my respect because I had very low expectations for this player after his rookie year.
Is he number 2 long-term for you guys, or we need to do better than that in the long term?
We probably need to do better than that in the long term, but right now, he's a main character in that wide receiver room, and I need him safe on Sundays because he's drastically influencing field position because he gets a good return every time we get the ball kicked off, and we be getting scored on, so we get kicked off to a lot. So I'm proud of Luke because that was a player I was very low on, and he's earned my respect this season.
He's a gamer, man. He's going to find a way. It does seem like with the receiving cores, it's kind of been set up. And again, McLaurin would change this because he's got a little bit of this ability to him. But it seemed like there's a very low amount of yak coming out of this office, run after the catch, but that you're also top 6 in separation. So where defensively, my preparation for Washington comes in, when I look at that, I go, man, they're really good with the route running and creating that separation to get open. If I can lock that in, probably not a lot to be had there as far as yards after the catch. Is that an accurate way of looking at this receiving core?
Yeah, because yak was the problem last year too. There was a time like far into the season where you never saw a touchdown that Jayden didn't throw directly in the end zone, meaning no one's catching a ball, breaking a tackle, no one's catching it and breaking loose. You have to actually throw the ball in the end zone or we don't score passing touchdowns. Like that was the case. We had a lot of guys. I called them the fall down bandits who catch passes and get stopped inside the 5-yard line. Terry, it happened at least 4 times. Coincidentally, on the play where Terry got injured this season versus the Raiders, he was caught at the 1-yard line. He got in the end zone, but it was one of those tricky, did his knee go down before the ball crossed the plane? He got injured on a play where he got hawked by Caillou Blue Kelly. So we don't have, that was what we were supposed to be adding in guys like Debo, who gets yards after the catch, and guys like Jalen Lane, who runs a 4.32 and actually runs a 4.32. Like his football speed matches the 40 time. You thought you were going to get more yards after catch, but nope, we're still a team where people catch the ball and get tackled or catch the ball and go out of bounds. And that does not help your young quarterback on a team being hampered by injury. Someone has to make plays for us eventually.
Yeah, I feel like too, it's become more of a thing this is a bit of a requirement now with the game transitioning to me a little bit back into cover 2 shell, lighter boxes, more of a willingness to give up stuff kind of underneath in space and then rally up and tackle. Well, now I need those guys that we kind of come back to the origin story of the West Coast offense a little bit. And when it gets, built, it comes onto the scene because that's the purpose of a bit of that with it. And so you not only you feel it missing on this team, but kind of missing for where always is the NFL's in that cylindrical cycles of this is going good. Well, now next year it's this, next year it's going to kind of be this, seems like you guys are kind of caught in odd timing with that too, with how you built this team.
And we're putting a lot of pressure on the play caller and the quarterback. You're pretty much telling Cliff he has to call the perfect play and scheme everyone wide open, or big plays don't exist for this team. And it's making Jayden press. Jayden's definitely pressing, and he has not had consistent receivers out there, so his timing with them's off. Jayden's accuracy is one of his superpowers. It hasn't been this year. It's been off at times. He's throwing it to different people. He might be throwing it to me and you at some point this season. That's how it's been for us so far. And I want to see Jayden look like the Jayden I know he could be, because, man, the vibes were so good last year. And they're rocky right now, but if there's one guy I know that could turn it around, it's Jayden Daniels. And if he's playing on Sunday, I give us a shot. I give us a shot versus anybody whenever 5's on the football field, because I know what he's capable of.
There's not every team's got a quarterback who can throw the cape on their back. There is just a few of those guys. We're talking, well, is he one of these guys? Can he throw a cape on his back and kind of carry a team? And he is one of those guys, I think, that can do that. So makes it much more dangerous if he's out there playing, where it's no problem to me if we have to deal with Marcus Mariota, whereas Jayden is absolutely still going to maybe give you some issues. Who's a couple other last couple questions. First off, who's the player on this game in this week that's going to surprise Seahawks fans that maybe they're not aware of, that they should be aware of, a player that's kind of rising up for your Washington team to kind of pay attention to, or might sparkle a bit in this game?
I think the young linebacker, I think we're experimenting with getting our young speed linebacker on the field. And I think Jordan McGee and Kane Medrano. Kane Medrano was our 6th round linebacker this year. He's inactive most weeks just because of a numbers game and because Luvu and Bobby get all the snaps. Jordan McGee was our 5th round pick last year. He's a unit. He can move. We're going to have to utilize him more. And y'all have tight ends. Y'all have athletic tight ends that can stretch the field. I don't want Bobby anywhere near running up the seam with your tight ends, because that's going to be a nightmare for us. I know exactly how that movie plays out. I've seen it quite so many times this year. Jordan McGee and Kane Medrano, our young linebackers, are 2 that I would. And if you haven't heard of Trey Amos, he hasn't caught an interception or made any big plays like that, but he's been the best corner on this team so far, and he's just a rookie cornerback 8 weeks into his career.
He's going to be a good player for you guys. I scouted him in college, and he's going to be that was a guy with kind of a high floor, I think. You didn't know there's still some ceiling there too with him, but you got some assurity with him on the high floor walking in of should be a very solid player, should be good to go for you guys, and only improve, with time there. I like him a lot. Have this air raid offense we dealt with it last year, and it can be frustrating a little bit. It's very exciting at times when it's rolling. There's nothing like it. It's just tearing defenses apart. But when it's stopped and when it starts to get into some of its bad habits, it can be so damn frustrating.
Very.
Where do you stand with the air raid offenses? That this is the du jour of where the game is going, so we're at the cutting edge of this, or get me back to some traditional type of offenses? I can only take so much of this.
I like it when the concepts are consistent. Like last year, we had a clear identity. We have been an identity-less football team. Like we were pace, space, spread you out, throw it, run it when we need to, and we're attacking you. We're going for it on fourth down. We're getting it on fourth down. We're doing it without thinking. We have not had any consistent identity this year. And the thing with the air raid too is you get frustrated when you start to overthink things. It's 3rd and 1 and you're passing out of the shotgun. It's 4th and inches and you're running it. You're running a sweep out of the shotgun. It's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we? Just pound that 1 yard through, get the first down, and keep it moving. And some of those decisions, like I seen versus the Chicago Bears, where we fumbled for no reason in the rain and gave the Bears the game at the end. People are like, why are we handing the ball out of the shotgun? Do you guys not watch us on Sundays? We don't put Jayden under center. He's probably been under center 11 snaps all season. We don't put him under center. Why would they start in this situation? But there are obviously things to be frustrated about. But the most important thing is to run that type of offense, you got to have the bodies and the pieces for it. And that's been our main issue this year. We can't develop continuity when it's a different cast of characters each week. It's like trying to shoot a recurring TV show with extras. Like we need to get right. But regardless, though, I'm not giving us that excuse. I know what Jayden Daniels is capable of. I want to see a consistent, complete game from Jayden on Sunday. I like what you guys do defensively. I like Mike McDonald. After we lost the Ben Johnson sweepstakes, that's what I was hoping, but y'all got Mike McDonald. That's what I was hoping we win. I wanted a young coach. Like, I like what DQ has done since he's gotten here. I wanted a young, innovative mind. We're such a basic team defensively, and I see what y'all do in Seattle. It's the opposite of that, and it excites me, man. I bet y'all love what McDonald's doing over there.
Well, again, it's that we were in where you're at right now and looking at your defenses, and it's giving me PTSD, quite frankly. If I start twitching, like don't get worried. It's just that because remember with Carroll, with us, we kind of held on to that a little too long, and that he would acknowledge, I know I need to change, I know I need to update. We've been arrogant in our ways. We got to get and then you get the next year, and then he wouldn't update, and then you go, what was some of the updates? Where's the updates? I just think that whether it's like kind of both sides of the ball here when you talk. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go under center offensively. I'm removing a big part of the playbook from under center dropbacks, under center play action boots with Jayden Daniels. Okay, that just all goes bye-bye. And with the Dan Quinn or Carroll defense a little bit, there's this thing of like, here's a possible playbook of defensive plays you could be running and different stuff. We're going to cut all of that out. That goes into the trash, and we're going to operate off of this right here. And you kind of go, well, like simplicity, I guess. I feel like some of it's driven, so especially defensively, to the old school football player's mind who wasn't particularly very smart and couldn't process a bunch of things, especially defensively, the old stupid jock kind of thing as to why defenses stay so simple. We don't want them thinking too much. They got to think too much. They can't play fast. Like they can't chew and gub and walk at the same time or something, which I think is ridiculous. I think these players are smarter than ever before. They're more capable than ever before of taking on these extra details and nuances within the scheme. And you can't be that simple because offenses are going to be too smart about how to attack that when you're going to be that simple.
It gets very frustrating. It feels like such a dated thing too. That's why young minds, that was like on the top of my list. Like that's why Ben Johnson and Mike McDonald were very high up there for me.
Understandable. So, and to your point, we love what we're getting from Mike because that's what he is bringing. You're getting everything within the playbook, man zone concepts, stack boxes. I mean, last week with Texans, it was delayed blitzes, typical blitzes, simulated pressures. They ran the Blitzburg zone blitz stuff, where you're coming from one side, spot dropping off the other side of the line over here. Double corner blitzes off the edge last week. They got home on a 2nd and 6, not even a 3rd and 9, kind of like, well, it's predictable. You're bringing a blitz here. So it's also the unpredictability of when it's coming and when it's not. And he can change week by week. I mean, go certain weeks where he's the least blitzing team in the league and come back another week where you can go top 10. And that's what I want as a coordinator who can every week look at the opponent and go, okay, where are they vulnerable? How can I attack them? And I'm going to go after that.
Sounds so nice, right?
Well, and I don't think it's that particularly like smart even on this reel. And that's what I don't understand about this kind of defensive scheme. And I'm not trying to rake you over because I know you're in the midst of being so frustrated on it, but it's just that I don't understand why these coaches lean so ardently in this direction of it and not recognize this, because it seems so clear and straightforward that you have to be able to do this stuff. I think Quinn's done a little bit better than Carroll, where he's gone a little more, I'll be willing to go kind of middle-ish of the road blitz-wise, but still there's always that drawback, the old habits. There's just you can always feel them wanting to get back in that cozy chair where they feel most happy as a DC. And I go, I get it, but man, you're taking a lot off the table from an advantage standpoint you could be taking advantage of just to operate off of this simplicity.
Yeah, and that's why I wasn't trying to discriminate against an older coach in the process when we were looking for a guy, but the younger coaches show a higher propensity to try new things, to be innovative, and to say, you know what, my way is not working. Let's move this around and work to the skill set of what we actually have on the roster, because sometimes philosophy is not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough. And the thing with remember with this defense is a big part of this defense. Quinn learned it from Carroll. The defenses came from Carroll doing a lot of evaluation of 80s, 90s, early 2000, not early 2000. It was 70s, 80s, and 90s, and it was all levels of football. And he took a bunch of data points from that about what determined wins and losses. And 2 of the big data points were turnovers and big plays. So inherently at the functionality of this defense at its base is to restrict the deep play. But we're not living in an era football-wise where the big play is at the forefront as much because of the cover 2 shell proliferation. Offenses aren't trying to drive it as much. So Carroll would always be like, okay, well, teams aren't just going to dink and dunk their way up the field. They won't be patient. They'll eventually become impatient. And when they're impatient, we got the bodies on the back end to go make a game-changing pick or a game-changing play. It's like, well, if it doesn't work out that way, though, you're just getting worked up the field slowly over and over again. If they just stay patient 100%, and offenses kind of learned that about Carroll through the end, and they still know it about this defense, which is requiring them, this defense, to have to do some different things in order to kind of flip the head of this a little bit, go against your tendencies, if you will.
Yeah. And I need us to, I don't know if it's going to work with Joe Witt Jr. I know our fans have been clamoring for us to fire him. Dan Quinn's not going to fire his guy in season. That's not the way he operates. But whenever it's time to talk about somebody else taking over the defense, I need me somebody that's willing to change if change is needed, and not to just stick with what you have and say, oh, it's either going to work or it doesn't. That's not going to work for me.
And that's where Quinn, to give you maybe some hope on this, where I think he is better than Carroll in the respective, when you see him building his staffs, he seems to understand that a little bit more, whereas Carroll's a little bit more of give me a sycophant, give me the guy that's going to be a yes man a little bit on, I want you to run it this way and you're going to run it the way I want to run. I think Dan will be willing a little bit more to be like, all right, I don't need to run this. I'm the head coach. I mean, I want to have my influence on the defense, but I can understand I need to let you do what you need to do to be successful. So
I love the fans' view, because fans are like, the problem is Witt's in the box. He needs to come down to the side. I promise you, our defense.
Oh, I know. We've heard the same thing. Yeah, we've heard the very same thing. And again, I think with him, it's like, look, it is Quinn's defense at the end of the day. And I think what'll happen here, and you got to be careful of this, of letting them Washington play this game, because Carroll played this game with us for years. It's like, okay, we'll go from Chris Richard, to Ken Norton, and then we're going to go to Clint Hurts, all of them in-house hires, all of them from within their own staff being elevated.
Norton's our linebacker coach.
Well, see what I'm saying? Like it becomes very incestuous, and it becomes like, are you really looking for the best guy? Because that's my whole thing, is like, we've hired 3 straight defensive coordinators. We have this whole country of DCs, all of these teams with all of these smart defensive minds, and the smartest were always in our building 3 times in a row. Or maybe perhaps you didn't want a guy that was going to rock the boat and go outside of what you wanted done. And so you couldn't go hire a really great candidate because they were going to be restricted in what they could go do.
Right.
kind of frustrating with it, man. It's going to be interesting to see what Washington kind of does on that situation. Addis the Gamer, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. I really appreciate you for doing that. Very kind of you, Addis. I know you've been there before on that side of it, so thanks for that. Folks, if you can, again, do me a favor here with Rio, and that is right down the description section below. You will see a link to Rio's channel here. Covers the Commanders and does a great job at that. Please do show him some love for coming in here for an hour today, taking out time of his day, and give him a little bit of a sub love over there. Hit that sub button on up. Hit that like button as well on my side. I'm going to be over on his channel here, I think, in tomorrow. So we'll be bouncing over there, helping this preview out there. Any kind of final thoughts on this game, Rio, of as far as how you see this thing playing out? Give me a prediction too.
Okay. I believe that the Seattle Seahawks are a better football team than my Washington Commanders today. But for the sake of my sanity and the sanctity of this season, I'm not trying to do mock draft Mondays in the month of November. I'm going to pick us to win by a slight margin. Like, let's call it 27-24. I'm going to predict Jayden plays. Jayden has one of those kind of nights, and we get the slight edge, because if they lose this game, like, this season is all but over for us. And we only got the Detroit Lions coming in next week with a 3-6 start, and Terry is like one more week away from just getting IR'd. So they have to win this football game. The season could be cooked if we lose this game. I'm going to pick us out of desperation and just trying to save the season at this point, because a 5th NFC conference loss at 9 weeks into the season, you have one shot to get into playoffs. That's winning the division, and that's going to be a far ride to catch Philadelphia. So I'm going to pick us 27-24 if Jayden plays.
I call it wish predictions when I'm doing those kind of predictions, where I want this so badly. But you mentioned a point not to be underrated, which is the desperation factor. That can be the mother of all motivations. And that when you're backed up against the wall and you know you got no more room for error, that can sometimes bring out a little bit of that urgency, which has maybe been missing in other games. Whereas, is Seattle sitting in first place right now where they're at? Do they have that same? Can they match that same urgency out on the road, traveling far out? We'll see with that. But I think the NFL has told us this year it's been a weird one. And as soon as you think you've got the understanding of it's just been why. Hasn't it been one of the weirder ones for you too, where it's just
feels like the most wide open NFL season I've ever seen.
It really does, where it's just, you usually have kind of the blue bloods that are sort of those, like the Ravens team has been, where they're just always up top. They're always up there rolling along. But this year it just feels like everybody's kind of in play. And it's also like week to week, there's not a hard line narrative of this thing's going to carry over to this week and that's going to carry over to this week. You're kind of every week a little bit kind of on your heels about what to expect and what you're going to see.
It's crazy, but I'm enjoying the ride of the season. I need my boys to get going though, because in my head, if someone said, "Hey, put some money on it," no, I don't think we're going to win this game this weekend, but I want us to win this game this weekend, and I'm not afraid to call it what it is. I'm a realist at the end of the day, so I'm predicting a victory out of fandom right now. Out of pure
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, man. I get it completely, and I understand and can attest to when your team's kind of out of it and you're midway through the season, what a bummer that can be as far as the coverage goes on that too with it. But you guys got, I think, a team overall, a little bit of the age. You got the quarterback. You're on the right path there, I think, in the long term there. You got good ownership now, which is another big part we haven't talked about, but getting Dan out of there and getting a legit ownership group that both has the ability to not make dumb decisions or be looking at cheerleaders through peepholes, but actually can go out and supply the money, support the guys in the way they need to be supported properly, front office wise. That's as much as anything to me, a harbinger of a team that can become a winner down the line, is that ownership group being not out of their freaking mind. And we've got some ownership groups in the NFL that are freaking half crazy.
Oh, trust me, there's going to be a 10-part HBO Max documentary one day about Daniel Snyder's ownership. And there are so much outsiders are going to learn that was commonplace for us Washington fans. It's going to make for amazing TV. I need not just the doc, I need like a real actor portrayed dramatization of that, because we went through 25 years of hell. So even though it's rocky right now, we've been through so much worse here as fans. So I'm good right now. I'm good.
Dan making Harvey Weinstein look like a Boy Scout.
My goodness. My goodness. Nasty guy, man.
Oh man, yeah, just awful. And boy, when you're stuck with a bad owner, man, you just can't get out from under that rock. You are stuck for decades. It seems like. Hell, the Raiders are on their second lineage right now. At least Thompson.
You can't get out of it unless he starts messing with other owners' pockets, because they can almost get away with everything except taking money from the shield. And when that happens, it's over. So if you need to get your owner out of there, he needs to somehow start taking money out of other owners' pockets. That's the way to get it done, because they're Teflon other than that.
Anything just short of murder, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of one of those things, pretty much.
much.
Well, Rio, you're awesome for coming in here, man, and taking your time out. Again, you're just, I know, super busy, folks. So please do show love for Rio on his channel. Give him sub love over there. I'll be bouncing over onto his side as well. So that's why you want to be subbed up over there. Hear me talk a little bit our Hawks on that side of it. Where can they find you out on Twitter, Rio?
Yep. Rio_Robinson 91. Rio Robinson on YouTube. Shows called Rambling with Rio, man. Come over. We have a good time, man. I talk a little crazy. Sometimes I use some colorful language, but it's fun. We have a good time, and we're fans. We're just fans at the end of the day, man.
That's all we are, man. We're just fans with them. We got a microphone and camera, but we are just fans like everybody else. And that's how it is, man. So you got the emotions and the passion. That stuff's going to, come out within it, in my opinion. So, well, thank you for doing this. Definitely going to have you back on here again, and maybe even do a little bit on. I'm trying to set something up eventually for some draft coverage. You get into that very deep.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we'll have to come back on. And
I might get a head start on you, man.
I know. Well, I get about 310. I get to 310, and then my eyes glaze over, and I can't look at any more film. But I try to get pretty deep into it too with it. So let's maybe come back around, double back around on that at that time.
Let's do it, man.
All right,
man. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you for being on. Thank you guys for watching today. Again, please use that sleeper code. You can either use Nest or
Rio 91.
Rio 91. Use either of those two codes. Go out there, win yourself some money today. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate you guys. We'll be back later on this afternoon. But until next time, please don't you ever forget, go Hawks.
Hell to the command.